It's time for the Eagles to soar. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett here on the Brock Eagle Football Show, right here on the S2S Sports Network, part of L4 Media, as we're going to be talking Brock football each and every week, just as I've been doing for 6 years. Yes, it is a new network. And by the way, this new network is owned by a Brock family. So there you go. You're supporting us. You're supporting Brock, and you're supporting the Brock Eagles. Speaking of, this is brought to you by DFW Executive Realty. That's Eddie Washington and Tommy Hayes Photography, the best photographer of sports and portraits in the state. But we do need some more Brock sponsors. If you're wanting to be a sponsor here on the show where we talk to Coach Mathis each and every week, email me, Terry at s2ssport.com. I will get back to you. We'll talk about how you can become a sponsor. We'd love to add a couple more as the season gets rolling along. But first and foremost, this week, we're going to be talking the rematch, Brock versus Pleasant Grove. This was a game that last year was really close until Pleasant Grove wore Brock down in that second half. And you got to think with the heat this year, man, it's tough enough when you're a 3A school playing a 4A school, even when you're a 3A power, because you're playing a 4A power. But then you add in the heat this year, and it's just going to be really, really tough because you've got to monitor your snaps. And we'll talk to Coach Mathis about that during the show, and that is a concern. The heat is hot for both teams, but Pleasant Grove does have more rotational players that they can get in snaps. And that could be a situation where we see a lot of what happened last year. Though I think the Brock offense this year will be able to move the ball a little bit more than they did last year. But we'll be talking all that with the head coach, Billy Mathis, here on the Brock Eagle Football Show. But first, we want to thank the sponsors that we have. And that's Eddie Washington, DFW Executive Realty. You can find them online at dfwexecutiverealty.com. You can give Eddie a call at 817-680-9134. You can email him edwash1@msn.com. For all your realty needs on the Fort Worth side of DFW, Eddie is your man. If you go to the website, you can search by residence, you can search by neighborhoods, you can even search by finding the value. They have it all at DFW Executive Realty. So tell Eddie Washington that you heard about him here on the Brock Eagle Football Show. Also, Tommy Hayes Photography at TommyHayesPhotography.com. I'm not just saying it because he advertises with us, but legitimately, he is the best in Texas when it comes to not only sports shots, but portraits and also other planned shots. For all of his sports shots, you should see some of the other stuff he does, and you can do that, as I said, on TommyHayesPhotography.com. You can also find him on Instagram at Tommy_Hayes_photography. He's also doing, if you didn't know, doing the Brock Eagle media guide once again, and I was looking at some of the proofs for it, and man, just absolutely outstanding. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, it is the head coach of the Brock Eagles, Billy Mathis, to talk the offseason and to talk Pleasant Grove right here on the Brock Eagle Football Show on the S2S Sports Network, part of L4 Media. Is your demanding work lifestyle in need of fire-resistant clothing that can keep up? Well, L4FR clothing should be your go-to for quality, affordability, safety, and style. L4FR was founded by a third-generation oil field worker who is also a veteran. Thus, this company has a deep appreciation for reliability and longevity, all while we provide first-rate customer service. Our durable apparel will serve you well for many years to come, whether you're working on a pipeline, a lineman climbing utility poles, or in any other environment requiring fire-resistant apparel. L4FR has you covered. Our apparel is tough enough to resist hazardous conditions while still providing high comfort and style. L4FR provides clothing options to ensure your safety and comfort, whether you're on the job or not. To view our complete inventory of flame-resistant garments, please visit our online store at l4frclothing.com or give us a call at 817-757-4935. Si habla español. Terry Bennett back here on the Brock Eagle Football Show. Now joined for the first time officially on this show in 2023 by the head coach of the Brock Eagles, Coach Billy Mathis. And Coach, first off, how are you doing and how was off season?
Man, I am doing wonderful. Off season was great. This summer was amazing. Personally, me and my wife, we got to go up to Montana, and some of our best friends got married, and I was the officiant up there. So if anybody needs to get married, I can do that now. So I am an ordained minister. So So off season it was awesome, man. We had a great summer. We had, summer strength conditioning. Kids showed up all summer, worked their tails off. Man, we had kids out, from 7-on-7 to summer baseball to, going on vacations, just very upbeat and very alive. We got brand new turf out here on our football field. So right now in Brock America, everything's going great.
Yeah, first off, that turf looks amazing. But I have to ask you, when you're officiating a wedding, do you do it like when you're trying to coach a kid?
Oh, absolutely. I get up there and tell them, hey, listen, you will love her and you will take care of her. I try not to, but I'm sure it always comes out like that.
All you got to do now, you need to be able to do a notary, and so then you can have your business card say football coach, ordained minister, and you notarize things.
No doubt. No doubt.
All right, so let's start. Let's get into it. After a couple scrimmages, last year when we talked in this same episode, you said, hey, our offense is going to be solid. Our defense is going to be young but talented. This year, it feels like it's flipped a little bit. Most of your returners are back on defense. On offense, your offensive line is back, but you do have some key questions at certain positions. So tell us what you've seen after 2 scrimmages.
So defense, we have most of our guys back, and you're right, man. Our defense is as good as it's ever been. Cooper Massey back and Luke Kearley back at our linebackers. Of course, Cam Harris and Brock Riker and Hunter Fay back there on the D-line, and Finney and Cam Bramblett and, young Colt Matlock back there, back returning. So we got a lot of returners there on defense, and, we got some new guys that have moved up and some guys that we had a kid named Thomas Taylor who got hurt last year, didn't get to play. He's going to take that other defensive end spot. And we got a kid named Vance Guthrie who's starting at our other safety. So he's a senior also. So we got a lot of we got a lot of guys back, and the defense is faster and more physical than they've ever been. And that goes through the hard work during the summer. It goes through the hard work through the off season. But really and truly, we're senior heavy. And man, the seniors they're hungry. We've gotten so close these last 2 years, and that's been our big talk through this summer. Hey, we cannot be complacent. We cannot just think, hey, we've gotten the state championship the last 2 games, it's just going to happen. I said, so every day we got to go, and our ultimate goal is, are we better today than we were yesterday, right? And I know that sounds what every coach would say, but it's the truth. And, you can't just sit around and think, hey, we're going to get back there, because it takes not only hard work, but it takes a little luck. It takes, staying healthy, everything that you need to put into the work, right, to build your body up, to get it as strong as you can get it and to be as fast as you can get, right? That's where we're at. And, this summer was great, and those seniors on defense are excited for their opportunity. And, they know they've been there, and they know what it takes to get there. So defense, man, I am really excited about, and it's the best defense that I've been a part of. And on the other side of the ball, of course, our biggest deal was who's going to replace Tyler Moody. Mm-hmm. So got a kid named Brody Woods that's going to be our starting quarterback this year for us. So Brody's a junior. His dad's one of our offensive line coaches. His name's Aaron Woods. So excited to have them, and excited Brody's back there leading the way on offense. But, you talk about the O-line, Brock Riker, Hunter Fay, those guys are back up there up front. Adam Mueller and the young guys that are, they're both juniors are back. So excited about the offensive line. And got Brett Tutter back, right? We got Carson Finney back out there. We got Jackson Hart back. So we got a lot back out there on the offensive side. Cotton Tanner and all those guys, man. It's just, as a coach, you're excited to have them all back. You're excited because of the experience that those guys bring. And, we got some new guys that have come in, that are going to be part of it. Britton Burrows and Caden Hicks. And, those guys are going to be out there, on the offense and the defense for us. So, man, it's been a great off season. The 2 scrimmages, I thought we went out and played well. The thing I was most proud about, I guess, was how physical we were during both scrimmages. So, offensively and defensively, I thought the guys ran to the ball well. I thought we blocked well. And, so this week's, the true test. Got Pleasant Grove. And, we're going to see what we're made up against, those guys.
Yeah, we all joked about it last year. You were scheduling them in your tough schedule. And this Pleasant Grove team, in my opinion, I think you'd agree too, at least on paper before the season, is better than last year simply because they've grown up just like y'all have. But also they've kind of done some scheme things different, trying to open up the offense. When you look at them, well, first off, since you know that they're kind of changing some things, at least scheme-wise, how much do you look at last year's film, or are you just strictly looking at the scrimmages?
No, so, we definitely, we're looking at the scrimmages, but at the same time, that's what makes week one so hard.
Yeah.
Really and truly, because I know how scrimmages go. We go out through the scrimmages and we're working on the stuff that we're not real good at, right? We're trying to get better. And there's things that we do in the scrimmage just to see, if we like it or if we don't. So, that's the toughest part. And, through their scrimmages, they've been in shotgun almost the entire time. And before that, I know late in the playoffs they were in more shotgun, but against us they were almost all under center, running buck sweep and stuff. So really we've prepared for the stuff that they ran against us last year, and we've prepared for the new stuff. So it's been some good long practices, and and there's a lot of stuff out there, but you'd rather over-prepare than not be prepared at all. So, but what Coach Molinex and the defensive staff does so well is we try to keep it simple, right? We're not trying to go out there and you don't go out there and you got to make sure you can line up to the formations, right? If you can go out there and line up to the formations and not get outflanked, you got a chance, right? So that's what we try to do, make sure that we're ready, and we try to keep our rules simple. So when they do come out, and they're going to come out in something that we hadn't seen, we're able to, look at the formation and get lined up correctly.
And you say that, and you and I have talked about this on this show before, and I still don't think people understand. Every coach, defensive coach especially, tells me that getting lined up correctly is like 80% of the play. If you can do that, you have a 80% chance to win most of those plays.
No, you do, and that's why a lot of those teams, they line up in those, we call them sugar huddles, those little sugar huddles, and break the huddle so fast and get lined up, they'll maybe have a 4-man surface on one side and try to get you outflanked or get a man on you. And it's the same way in defense. How can we get one man over on them, to the side that they're running the ball to? How can we get an unblocked guy over there to go make the tackle? So, it's the chess game that you play, and you got to be ready. You got to know when to make your move, and but at the same time, your kids got to be mentally tough enough. Now they got to be physically tough enough to say, hey, if we do get lined up wrong, we got to go and make a play. We got to be able to go out there and run somebody over. We got to go out there and take on a block, and make sure it bounces and stuff like that. So yes, it is getting lined up right is the ultimate key for what you prepare for.
Oh, and you talk about being physically tough and mentally tough, and you and I were talking before we started recording. This heat this year is just absolutely crazy. You're not only playing a team that's a 4A team, that there's a depth thing already. Now you're adding it to the heat. How much does that play a part in your mind, week one rotation of snaps?
It goes through a lot, right? Because I think last year when we played, we had a lot of guys that were playing both ways,
yep.
And you try to keep them as fresh as possible. And, this year we have more experienced guys on the varsity so that we can roll them through there. Guys like Tyler Butler, he plays inside slot receiver for us, but he can go over there and play cornerback for us. Same thing with the O-line, D-line guys. Even though Brock and Hunter will both start on the offense and the defensive line, we got guys like Des Jones who can go in there and rotate in there and keep them fresh. It's a big deal, because it's going to be, our game got moved back to 8 o'clock, but, you get down there on that turf's going to be 130 degrees, and you're down there in the trenches fighting, for 4 quarters. It wears on you. It takes it out, and we've got to do a good job of managing that to make sure that we keep those guys fresh, as fresh as you can be, so that when the fourth quarter comes, we don't have happen what to us last year. Last year, man, they just got on us and they started steamrolling us that second half. So And I don't want any of that fatigue to happen again, so we can go there and put our best foot forward.
Last year when you and I were doing this show at this point and through the non-district, your big thing is you wanted to see how your team would react playing these tough games in non-district, having some losses, and how would they bounce back. I feel like it's a little different this year. I feel like and not that you didn't want to go out and win last year, but I don't feel that there's that fear of lack of confidence anymore. They've seen Pleasant Grove. They've seen Wimberley. They've seen Gunner. And yes, they're all great, but I think now it's okay, we've played them, now let's beat them.
Right. No, and there is a lot of truth into that. I think last year going into Pleasant Grove and, the first thing we ever saw, we watched them on film and, saw everything that they had. I mean, it's intimidating. There's no doubt about that. So I think having that game under our belt last year, it makes it a little bit more real. It makes it a little bit more, I don't want to say less intimidating, but it's a little bit less intimidating because you kind of know what you're going against, right? They understand, hey, we're going up against 17, 18-year-old guys just like us, But, they're still, they got monsters rolling around over there, man. The big old dudes that can go play football and tough. So, but yes, you're right about that. The unknown last year was, it was unknown and you're just not real sure. We've played them now, so I think we know a little bit more about them. So there is a little bit more confidence. I will say that.
Is your demanding work lifestyle in need of fire-resistant clothing that can keep up? Well, L4FR clothing should be your go-to for quality, affordability, safety, and style. L4FR was founded by a third-generation oil field worker who is also a veteran. Thus, this company has a deep appreciation for reliability and longevity, all while we provide first-rate customer service. Our durable apparel will serve you well for many years to come, whether you're working on a pipeline, a lineman climbing utility poles, or in any other environment requiring fire-resistant apparel. L4FR has you covered. Our apparel is tough enough to resist hazardous conditions while still providing high comfort and style. L4FR provides clothing options to ensure your safety and comfort, whether you're on the job or not. To view our complete inventory of flame-resistant garments, please visit our online store at l4frclothing.com or give us a call at 817-757-4935. Si habla español. As always, we want to thank the head coach of the Brock Eagles, Coach Billy Mathis, for joining us here as we start the third year with him of doing this coach's show, and the third year that I think Brock is a prohibitive favorite to play in a state championship game. In fact, if you want to hear what I and Grant Goodwin of Sideline to Sideline think, check out our Big Arch 3A preview show, Sideline to Sideline style, at s2sgrantandterry.com. You can also find it on all of our Facebook pages, social pages. On Facebook, Sideline to Sideline. On Twitter, at Grant and Terry. You can also find us on every podcast platform. The same with these shows as well. Now, these shows, if you found this through another way and you don't know where it's at, these shows, all the coaches shows and all the regional shows and district shows for L4 Media will be at s2ssport.com this year. And then Sideline to Sideline will be at s2sgrantandterry.com this year. And it's going to be a fun 3A year. In fact, next week, I will be getting to go up to see Canadian versus Bushland. I'm excited about that. This week, we're going to be going to first see a 2A game, Timpson versus Beckville on Thursday night. And then we're going to go Friday and see another 3A team in Lorena play a rival in China Spring. That's one of those rivals that even before both teams were where they're at now, that's a blood rival down there. It's a great, fun game to be at. And so I'll get a look at some of the 3A schools, especially though that Bushland one, of course, for Brock. That's a team that I definitely think stands in the way in this region. That quarterback, and I think that defense is going to be a little bit better. And of course, coaching from Brock is up there now. It's going to be a great game, and I can't wait to talk about it. But I also think Brock's going to be a good game. I don't know if Brock wins it. I think Pleasant Grove is a better team this year than they were last year. They had the potential to be. It's the first game. You never know. I think Brock might have the chance to be a better team. It's hard to be a better team than a team that came within 5 minutes of winning a state championship. But I do think that this is it's a bad matchup. And that's exactly why Coach Mathis wanted this game in the non-district. You want to schedule the bad matchup so you can get used to that. So if you get into one of those games in the playoffs, you're able to adjust. And I think all the Brock fans, I know how it was through that 0-4 last year. I got the emails, I got the messages, especially after that Gunner game. And I get it. It was frustrating. But the team learned that 0-4 turned in to that 11-game winning streak that got Brock into the state championship game. And sometimes you just have to take the lumps early and then prove that those lumps paid off. And I'm not saying that it happens, but does Brock come back against Bushland in that game if they hadn't had those types of tough games in non-district and district, mind you? Man, it felt like there for about 4 weeks, every week in district, Brock was pulling a rabbit out of the hat. And if those games don't happen, I don't know if they answer the bell when Bushland jumped up to that big lead. That's why you play these games. That's why you do the tough schedule in non-district. It makes you better, bar none. The only time it doesn't is if you get just completely beat up, and there's nothing you can do about that. That's the only time that I feel that a team, especially a team with the confidence of Brock now, the only worry you have is injuries. After that, this team will, if they go 0-4 again, if they go 2-2, 1-3, 3-1, 4-0, whatever it is, they're going to come out the other end battle tested and better. And we saw last year how much that helps. That's going to do it for this week. Again, I'll remind you, if you'd like to be a sponsor here on the Brock Eagle Football Show, we have a couple spots open. Message me, Terry, at s2ssport.com. You can also give me a call or text me, 469-605-3658. We'd love to add a couple more sponsors, and we do appreciate Eddie Washington of DFW Executive Realty.com and Tommy Hayes Photography, TommyHayesPhotography.com, for being sponsors. And they are our two longest sponsors on this show, and I really do appreciate both of them. And I appreciate everybody that listens. We always get good numbers for our Brock Eagle football shows, and I appreciate that, and that comes from y'all. All right, that's going to do it for this week. Next week, we'll be back at it right here on the Brock Eagle Football Show on the S2S Sports Network, part of L4 Media.